anybody that attends breech delivery knows that, when you have a baby that's a head first baby and it's pushed for a long time, what happens to their head?
Hematomas.
Or bruising.
Caput.
Or caput.
Bruising.
Or even sometimes if it's a long labor, they could even have some skin that's denuded on the top of their scalp. You've seen that, right? Raw spot on the, okay. So when a baby's breech, the same thing happens, except it's the butt. So we often see like one butt cheek, one of the presenting butt cheeks there'll be a circular black and blue mark. If you have an edematous surface and you keep pounding on it, eventually you get fluid underneath it, and then the top skin denudes it off. Anybody who's ever had a blister on their toe or their foot knows what I'm talking about. So sometimes these babies are born with a blister on the butt or a blister on their butt cheek or on their labia. So this couple had a home breech birth. There were a little bit of shenanigans. Apparently they had it at a birth center and maybe they weren't supposed to have it at a birth center. And after about a couple of hours, apparently the midwives thought the baby was fine, but the family wasn't quite comfortable. And so they wanted to take the baby to go get checked out. We've already talked about that slippery slope right there. Okay.
Yeah.
When you have a home birth, when you have a home breech birth, you're already going to be profiled. These were again, people of color. They were, they took the baby in because they wanted to watch the respirations. Doctor noticed the bruising on the butt, and then Child Protective Service was called immediately because they claimed that the father had been sexually abusing the baby.
A couple hours old.
Yeah, baby's a couple hours old, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, clearly the physician there knew nothing about breech birth and nothing about anything and didn't bother to ask anybody. They immediately, because you said, see something, say something. So they say something. Child Protective Services doesn't know anything except how to be, there are some nice people that work for Child Protective Services. They're stuck often in a shitty job. So I don't want to paint them all with a broad brush, but some of them are little Napoleons. And this is their chance at being on top. So they act that way. Nonetheless, I don't know the details, but they took the baby away. And because the baby had a bruised butt.
And because the hospital is not informed because they don't see breech births enough and didn't know that this is normal. This is a normal part of a vaginal breech delivery. And I think that is also important to note,
And they had to do it on the sly because no one would do it in the hospital, the breech delivery. So they had to get a midwife. And, I don't know the details about whether it's legal for midwives or not legal for midwives, or whether it was just specifically this birth center shouldn't have allowed breech because maybe they're a member of the AABC and they're not supposed to be doing breech there. I don't know. But that's a tangential, silly, non sequitur part of the story. The story is that they didn't know anything, and it took them a battle they have to battle to get their baby back for a normal breech. They're heroic. She's a heroic woman. She had a breech home birth, and this ends up happening.